This is Shy,
And this is Megan,
and this is the Magical Happy Hour.
a podcast where we share our love for Disney, theme parks, travel tips, food.
And anything else we feel like talking about.
It's episode 39, and we're going to be talking about the history and secrets of the Tower of Terror, or of all of the Tower of Terrors. We're doing it a little bit different this time.
Yeah. So there at one point was 4. There's currently only 3 left, but we're going to talk about all 4 of them.
Yeah, when it was in existence.
Yeah.
Mission Breakout maybe another time.
Mission Breakout will be another time. I mentioned I talk a little bit about it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the like baby of Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
But first, some news. The walkway between Avengers Campus and Cars Land is now closed temporarily, but probably for some time.
Yeah, I know someone mentioned that they might be putting in bathrooms there,
Oh,
and so
okay.
I'm like, I hope that area, that walkway gets reopened because it's a really convenient way to get through Cars Land if you're already in Adventures Campus,
Yeah, it feels busier than going through like the like,
or less busier, you mean?
what did I say?
You said it feels busier.
Oh, yeah. It feels less busy than if you were to go through like that main promenade, like walkway area.
Right, which is usually pretty congested, I feel like.
Definitely. Kind of no one is in that corner of Avengers Campus for now, at least until those attractions, because this is being closed for construction reasons, I would assume.
Right.
Yeah, Avengers Campus has some changes coming, and so this walkway closing is just kind of a part of that. Just something good to keep in mind while you're navigating the park so you don't end up hitting a roadblock.
While we're talking about Avengers Campus, the Red Guardian has made an appearance. You can go and take pictures with him. I don't know what his actual name is, but I know that it's in promotion for the Thunderbolt movie. Is that
Yeah.
his name? Is he the Thunderbolt? I don't know.
Well, Thunder I think Thunderbolts is like a group of people, kind of like the Avengers, like that's not a person, it's a group.
Okay,
So the Thunderbolts are like this collection of
superheroes.
superheroes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the movies leading up to this. So I didn't see Black Widow. I didn't see that, what is it? The Falcon movie that just came out, which I think they're all kind of intertwined with this story
I
as well.
I was gonna ask if that was the case, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, for the little bit that I know, that's what I've seen.
Okay.
This is the character played by David Harbour. For anybody that's familiar with him, he's in Stranger Things, also the Black Widow movie, playing the same character. But yeah, if you are interested in meeting him, it sounds like now's the time.
There's also been a ton of new food that Disney has recently dropped in the parks and on the California parks at least.
Yeah, just yesterday. Well, and we're recording this on May 1st, so this is pretty fresh news.
Yeah. Um if you look at, I want to say, Food at Disneyland, is that the blog that you sent me most of the posts from?
Yeah, that's the Instagram account, and I think there's a blog link to them as well.
So if you want to take a look over there for more details, but Megan and I just kind of wanted to share a couple food items that we're excited about that are coming out.
What's looking good to you?
So I first am looking at the lemon raspberry tiramisu. It's in one of those like 10 containers that they've been using for desserts recently.
Mhm.
And it's got lemon tiramisu cream with raspberry soaked ladyfingers, lemon curd, and fresh raspberries, finished with dried raspberries and a chocolate decoration.
It sounds so good. Very spring.
Very spring. I love anything lemon, anything raspberry. So it's the perfect dessert for me. I don't normally like I think Megan has a savory item she's going to talk about. I feel like I'm normally like more excited for the savory items, but this dessert specifically just caught my eye and sounded really tasty. So
It
I wanted
does.
to try that one.
It's so different compared to like a typical tiramisu, but still like like built like one, right?
Yeah, it's like the shape, but not the flavors.
Hmm. Should be good.
What about you?
Okay, so speaking of savory items, I think we all know by now, maybe I haven't talked about it that much, but I feel like I'm just always talking about it. I'm a big corn girl. And so I'm very excited that they have a street corn dog, which sounds a little misleading, but it's a hot dog, so not a corn dog, but it's topped with like esquites. So they have like the esquites topping on top of a regular hot dog, but then it looks like it has maybe like some sort of like folded bread bun, like not a traditional hot dog bun. And
Ah, okay.
yeah, and so you can get that at Award Wieners. And I mean, I've always been happy with the hot dogs I've gotten there, which sounds kind of funny, but I'm a corn girly, I'm a hot dog girly. So this sounds really good to me.
Throw some elote on that hot dog. She's a happy girl.
Yes, those are two of my favorite things.
I also love those two things, and I'm excited to try this as well.
Yeah. What's your next one? Oh,
So I
please.
was really excited when I saw that this was on there. It's like such a nostalgic part of my childhood. I think me and Megan probably have the same memory growing up in the same smallish town. Um, there was a snow cone shack, a little blue snow cone shack in our neighborhood. And me and my dad would go there. And I always remember my dad would always get like a root beer float snow cone.
Oh,
And I would, not a root beer float, but a root beer snow cone.
gotcha.
And I would get like something more like blueberry or raspberry or watermelon or like something more fruity, and it was definitely a big part of my childhood. So these New Orleans inspired snowballs look super delicious. You have an option of 6 different syrups. You can get mango, pineapple, coconut, strawberry, lemon lime, and cherry.
Ooh, those are, I feel like, really good options. Like, I would have trouble choosing just one.
I would have trouble choosing just one as well. I think if you were to order in the app, you probably can only get one, but maybe if you order it in person, they could make it more customizable for you.
Maybe I should try.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
available already too, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, fantastic. I have a sweet option for my last one also. This is a s'mores butter cake sundae. I was immediately drawn to this because, again, like they're just throwing some of my favorite things at me because I also love s'mores and also love a butter cake, but I've never had a chocolate butter cake, which is
Mm.
what this is. It's topped with vanilla ice cream, chocolate sauce, graham cracker crumbs, and toasted marshmallows. You can find it at the Red Rose Tavern, and I absolutely plan on trying this. It sounds pretty simple, but I feel like the thing that really sets it apart is that chocolate butter cake. I haven't seen that anywhere before.
Interesting. Sounds good.
I feel pretty fortunate because I'm going to the parks tomorrow. And so, yeah, pretty bummed. An issue happened with my reservation last week. So unfortunately, I missed out on a little meetup I was going to attend, and I had a food list for myself. So I'm just going to have to, pivot and like reassess a little bit, be strategic again. But then thankfully, Shy and I will also be going this month with a whole other group of friends, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get to see Megan this month and go to the parks. Anything else before we jump into the bulk of our episode?
I think it's time to jump into that elevator. Also, I feel like you'll be happy to know. I'll just tell you this now. Tell everyone now, I guess. Um, I am you I know you said like, "Oh, maybe this will make you want to go on it again." And I was like, "No, no, no. I kind of do." I feel like I don't know, like the thought of it makes me so nervous, but also like I do. I want to be brave. I want to be brave so bad.
You can do it.
Yeah.
If I could do it, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I need.
Because now I'm like, now I look forward to going on garden. Just remember, like the fear that you had with Incredicoaster
Mhm.
took some time. Now you love going on it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I feel like the parks that are or our park that's available to us, like, yeah, it's not Tower of Terror, it's Guardians now. And I think the bounciness does screw me up a little bit, but knowing that it's not as big as the Disney World one, like the original in Hollywood Studios, like does kind of ease my mind a little bit. And I'll get into more things as we go. But
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that attraction over in Florida.
yes. So, like I said, the original Tower of Terror is in Hollywood Studios, and it's the icon of this park. If you listened to last episode, then you know that already. Go listen to last episode if you haven't. But this attraction opened in July of 1994. It is a 199-foot tall structure, making it the second tallest structure in Disney World, just falling short of being first. That because it was beaten out by Expedition Everest, which is only about half a foot taller.
That's it.
That's it.
Man. All
Yeah,
right, Expedition Everest.
holding it down. And kind of neither of them, or they like would not be making a structure taller than either of these because there's some sort of like flight path or like airspace requirement that you have to have like a red light on top of any
Right.
structures.
Right.
Yeah.
Over a certain height. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
either like 200 feet or like however many like meters or however they measure it.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think Tower of Terror is like literally 99.6 and Expedition Everest is like 99.11 or something.
Got
Yeah,
it.
something silly like that. Which maybe not 11, maybe 99.9 or something. I don't know. The math isn't doing it great in my head, but you know what I mean. We all know what we mean. Maybe not point, but whatever. Um, yeah, but so the drop doesn't come from that 99th level height, though. The drop is about a 130-foot drop. An early concept proposed for what would become this ride was a free fall type ride for Frontierland in either Disneyland or Disneyland Paris called Geyser Mountain. It would have been part roller coaster and part free fall ride that shot guests up a vertical shaft. But, things changed, ideas shifted, and that's how they created the ride that we have today. How they chose the theming for this ride, though, is pretty option. Like, there's a lot of different ideas kind of thrown out there. It sounds like they did want to keep it as some sort of like haunted or like spooky horror themed something. So there were several ideas proposed like a ride based on Stephen King novels, which personally I would do anything for that. Like you wouldn't probably be able to get me off this ride. I'm a really big Stephen King fan and I would just be too into it or I'd be really upset because I would still struggle to get on it like I do now. There was also a Vincent Price ghost tour, a Mel Brooks narrated ride, maybe based on like Young Frankenstein, which also one of my favorite movies. So again, hard to get me off or me just really upset to not being able to go on it. It was also proposed to be a real hotel or hotel attraction hybrid. Also, kind of like the weirdest one was like an award show honoring classic movie monsters starring Godzilla and also a whodunit murder mystery, which honestly I almost feel like is the Haunted Mansion. Like I know we're not like trying to figure out the mystery necessarily. That's not our purpose, but it does kind of feel like that sometimes depending on, the time period and what storyline they're focusing on. So after all those proposed concepts, they did finally settle on Rod Serling's anthology stories featured in The Twilight Zone. This ride isn't based on any one specific Twilight Zone episode, though they would later make a movie based on the ride. but instead it takes like the vibe of the series and different elements from different episodes and combines them to tell their own original story. Despite this like not being a true episode, the actual Rod Serling is still in the introduction to the story. It was a combination of true footage, some digital digital manipulation, and a voice actor, Mark Silverman, who was approved by Rod Serling's wife, that created like the opener that brings us into the story of the Twilight Zone.
I really like that you mentioned it was approved by his wife because that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, of course she should have final say. Like, that's her boy. You're going to use his likeness without his permission. Thank goodness they did consult with somebody who's a part of his family. This ride was manufactured by Otis Elevator Company, so real elevator people. And it does more than just free fall. The mechanics actually drag the ride vehicles down, so it exceeds the force of gravity, resulting in 1.3 Gs. The ride we experience today has a randomized drop sequence, but this didn't come to be until 2003. And there's four different options, and it's totally randomized. So, approaching the ride, you make your way to the dilapidated Hollywood Tower Hotel, through the front gate to enter the queue through overgrown gardens, and then enter the hotel lobby. After, you're ushered to the hotel library. With a crash of thunder and lightning, the power in the library goes out, except for a television, which crackles to life and plays the opening sequence of The Twilight Zone. The episode depicts the events of a stormy night in Hollywood in 1939, where a powerful lightning bolt strikes the hotel and causes five people, an actor, a singer, a child star, her nanny, and a hotel bellhop, to vanish from the elevator, along with an entire wing of the building. Serling then tells guests that they'll be stepping into a maintenance service elevator to become the stars of an episode of The Twilight Zone. The television then turns off, and the guests are directed through to the boiler room to board the elevator. The beginning version of this ride is very cool and unique to only this version. It's commonly referred to as the fifth dimension. The elevator car exits from the lift shaft horizontally into the room, which slowly fades into darkness. Now, in total darkness, the car reaches a field of stars, which splits open, and the elevator enters a pitch black vertical shaft. As Serling's narration ends, the elevator begins, and the drop sequence at a top speed of 39 miles per hour begins. I was in absolute awe when I went on this in 2014. It was a long time ago, but I was like, what? It literally makes you feel like you're floating in space because of just like the field of stars around you. It's a really amazing effect. Like, it's a shame that this isn't in each of the versions. Some effects include projected images of a breaking window, wind effects, lightning flashes, and ominous blue lit figures of five ghostly original riders. At least once during the drop sequence, the like wide elevator doors in front of the riders will open to reveal a view of the park, and that's when the on-ride camera captures the in-ride photography, the in-ride photograph and video.
Oh, they get a video?
Oh yeah, I have that. So I have a little section of fun facts in the end, and I talk a little bit more about that
Okay.
because apparently this is, I think, was available to us when we went, like not on this ride, but on some of the other ones that I'm going to talk about, because this isn't
Okay.
the only ride in Disney World that has a video option.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool.
So as the ride ends, Sterling welcomes back the guests and sends them off after their visit to the hotel, as he would normally close the episode of The Twilight Zone. It's good stuff. I feel like a very effective ride, very immersive, and so many of them, like so many of the effects are practical.
Yeah, and they definitely, I know for the Disneyland version, and I'm sure for the Disney World version too, they use like Pepper's Ghost Effect and um, a lot of classic storytelling in there.
Yeah, yeah, lots of like scrim and stuff like that. Yeah, I just have a fun facts section. So first one, you can get married at the Tower of Terror.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's one of the
till death
several.
do you part.
Exactly. It's one of the several venues within Disney World, but it's on there. I'll put the link in our description because I did get some, yeah, from the Disney Weddings website. But go check it out. It looks beautiful. Like, love
I
it.
have seen wedding photos, and it does look super cool.
Oh, I love that. I never have, so I was really surprised, but thought it was fun. There's also a lot of props from the actual Twilight Zone series that can be found in like the pre-show or the ending of the ride, or the queue. There's a ventriloquist doll, Caesar, from the episode Caesar and Me, which is present in both unloading areas. Mystic Seer machine from the episode Nick of Time can be
Hmm.
seen sitting on like a high shelf in one of the libraries near a television. There's also chalk marks that can be seen on one of the walls of the waiting area that leads from the elevator unload and is a reference to the episode Little Girl Lost. There's a slot machine from the episode The Fever that's in one of the unload areas. A trumpet from A Passage for Trumpet can be seen in one of the libraries. There's a book titled To Serve Man from the episode of the same name, which is in both libraries. An envelope with the name Rod Serling on it can be found in one of the libraries as well, and another envelope with the name Victoria West in the other library as a reference to the episode A World of His Own. And then there's a flying saucer from the episode The Invaders hanging from the ceiling of one of the unload areas.
Cool.
So lots of stuff. This is the only version of the ride that only has two independently operating drop shafts. The other versions have three. There's a shadow box directory in like the letters, they look like they fell off. Um in like just they're just on the bottom, right? And but they spell out take the stairs.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, so kind of words of warning. One of the influences on the design of the exterior of the ride had to do with sightlines. So the top backside of the ride is visible from Epcot and is designed to fit in with the sightlines of Morocco. There are several things that allude to the unlucky number 13 in the queue, such as the wait time will never drop below that number, very similar to the Haunted Mansion. And all the clocks are stopped at 8:05, which is when they say like the lightning struck,
Hmm.
but also like 8 and 5 make 13.
Ah,
Most of the lobbies and the items, sorry, most of the items in the lobby are authentic to the time period and have been curated. Wow. Why can't I talk? Most of the items in the lobby are authentic to the time period, all curated by Imagineers involved in the design. And this is that ride photo. This is one of three rides in Walt Disney World that don't just offer a photo, but also a video of your ride experience. So I saw Seven Dwarfs Mine Train also does. And then there was another one, and I didn't write them down. But if you
that's
want
really cool.
videos, I'd never heard of that before. I just seen people recently doing like their slow-mos on the Tower of Terror. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'd never seen it until just recently. I feel like it's kind of a trend right now, but cool.
Cool.
Also, if you're into hidden Mickeys, while you're in the queue before the pre-show room, keep an eye out for a wooden inbox containing coins. If you look inside, you'll find your Mickey.
Cute.
Also, in the pre-show video, maybe the bell for the maintenance elevator is also one, and there's a little girl, and she's holding like a Mickey Mouse plushie. And like it
Cute.
appears in like the quarter scene of the ride too, but it's like a Mickey plushie from the time period,
Cute. That's really cute.
right? And they also say that a hidden Mickey can be found in each corner of the library's carpet pattern. And then the last one is in one of the libraries, there's a sheet of music from 1932, and it's a song called What? No, Mickey Mouse. What kind of party is this? Composed by Irving Caesar. Yeah. So that
What
is
the heck?
also a little hidden Mickey. What? No, Mickey Mouse. And then, like, in parentheses, what kind of party is this?
Yeah.
So fun stuff. But that about wraps up that one. Lots of fun stuff to come out of the original, but I'm very eager to hear about the other few there, since this is the only Tower of Terror I've experienced.
So this attraction was super popular in Florida, and Disney wanted to capitalize on some of that on the West Coast. Initially, like Megan had talked about earlier, a free fall drop ride was planned for Disneyland in order to improve attendance because they thought that attendance in DCA was going to be really great and they were going to take away from Disneyland. So there were plans to bring a free fall attraction to Disneyland and Frontierland. However, we know that's not what ended up happening. Disneyland continued to have way more guests than the highly criticized California Adventure Park.
Speaking of things we have episodes about,
The decision was made to bring Tower of Terror to Disney's California Adventure, which was announced on their 1 year anniversary, and construction began in 2001. But this attraction did not open until May 5th of 2004. This building had a Pueblo Deco architectural style, which was popular in Southern California in the 20s. Like Megan had explained, this attraction has three different elevator shafts and it stood 183 feet tall. It cost $60 million to build, and attendance levels in California Adventure did increase a bit with its addition. So that was a good thing because they really needed more attendance at California Adventure. So very similar to what Megan explained the ride is in Hollywood Studios. You enter like an outdoor queue where you would then be led into a 1939 Hollywood hotel lobby. It's clearly made to look abandoned with stained walls, dust, and cobwebs. You can find a registration desk, wine glasses that are partially full, plenty of lobby furniture, and elevator doors with signs stating out of order.
scary.
Large doors would open and lead you into the library. And this was the pre show where, like Megan explained, Rob would tell you about one night at the hotel where five guests get zapped from lightning striking the elevator. And he states that the time is now for you to step into the working service elevator if you dare.
Oh, that's a lot of confidence.
If you dare.
Yeah. The working one. Is that in quotation? The working elevator.
Right. He states that tonight's episode, you are the star, and this elevator is taking you straight to the Twilight Zone. The back doors open, and the bellman instructs everyone to exit to their left, where you go through a queue leading you to one of three shafts where you then line up in rows. Once the elevator doors open and you get to your row, the bellman ensures your seatbelt is securely fastened before sending you up to your room on the 13th floor. The vehicle moves backwards where Rob begins narrating. You shoot up into the air and are told to wave goodbye to the real world as you can see your reflection in front of you, which is cool. You get zapped into the Twilight Zone where you're then able to see the five ghosts from the story told earlier. And Rob tells the guests that the door to a nightmare is now opening for you right before a series of drops. At one point, you were able to see out over California Adventure Park before dropping down. And something that I forgot about that I remembered watching ride throughs, which is different now, is that you actually got multiple floor views of the park instead of just the single one that opens now for Guardians.
Oh, so it used to. you're saying it opened on multiple floors, not just like randomly on one floor, so you could get different views? Like, can you
So
tell me more?
that window that actually opens is one floor, but there's
Hmm.
floor underneath it where it's already open. So as you're going down, you don't see it when you're coming up because you're going up so fast and then it's closed. So like you're going up, you stop, it opens, and you
Uh-huh.
see, but as you're going down, it's opened on more floors. So you get
Oh,
it, there's like two or three floors underneath. You get more of a view of the parks, but you don't get that anymore. It's just the one door that opens now.
interesting.
I didn't watch a ride through. Oh, yeah, I did. It's the same at Paris. I didn't watch the ride through um, for Florida though, so I don't know if it does the same where like multiple floors you're able to see more views of the park. But honestly, with Guardians, I feel like I don't really see like it opens, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not paying attention, but I feel like I don't see much, or at least as much as I did before. I don't know.
That's what I remember too on Guardians, because I've had multiple people when I tell them I don't go on this, they're like, "Oh, because you're afraid of heights." And I'm like, "Well, you don't really see anything. It's not that. It's I can't breathe." But yeah, I feel like maybe at other parks or pre-Guardians you got a better view.
Yeah,
And at other parks you get better views.
that's what it seems like now. So after that, you are welcomed back by the bellman and are led out to the photo and gift shop. I think that okay, so here's my hot take. I think that this theme and this gift shop were superior to
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy, but I find the actual ride itself more fun as
Hmm.
Guardians.
I could see that.
Like I'm not as also I was now I go on Guardians and I think it's fun, but it took many years of being forced to go on the attraction to learn
Sure.
to enjoy it. And my times riding Hollywood Tower of Terror and California Adventure were not enjoyable because I was so terrified. I I can think of two times where I rode. I know I did it more than twice, but I can think of two times of riding this attraction. Um, one of them was with our friend Leah that used to make me go on it at least once a year. Um, I squeezed her hand so hard that there was an imprint of my hand on her hand once we got off of
Oh,
the ride.
oh
I
my
also
gosh.
squeezed the leg of the girl sitting next to me.
Oh, when I went on Florida, I
That was a
accidentally,
stranger.
yeah, I accidentally grabbed a child's hand that was next to me, like a tiny child. I was 18 and I was like, immediately let go and freak out. I, I'm all embarrassed myself right now. When I went on Guardians the first time, I bit Matt's shoulder just because I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was freaking out. I don't know.
So I'm
Tower
like,
of Terror. It's
maybe
terror.
that's why I wasn't having fun, or maybe
Sure.
that's why I didn't. And it's also like meant to be as like scary. Whereas Guardians, I feel like it's not really meant to be scary.
No, it's supposed to be fun and like
Yeah.
engaging. Yeah,
Um, so they're just very different experiences. But yeah, that's my hot take
I
on
appreciate it.
on the new edition of Guardians. But I wanted to talk about the biggest difference between the two is the drop sequence. So DCA had no randomized drop sequence. It was the same ride every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And also, this one doesn't travel into the fifth dimension.
Yeah. Missing that one. That's why I feel like I so often heard people be like, well, that's the bad version of the Tower of Terror. Or like that's like the half one. Because it also like didn't have as extensive as extensive of a queue as the one in Hollywood Studios. So like not as immersive, not as engaging from what I've heard other people say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just I'm that's just what I feel like I remember the opinions were when I was growing up. But also, like, I've never seen somebody more excited for a ride to come to a theme park than when this was announced. And it was my cousin's reaction because she went to not Tower of Terror. I'm sorry. As a family, we went to Disney World. I was 4 months old, so I have no memories of it. But she was maybe like 11 and fell in love with Tower of Terror. So when they started building this attraction, I remember my family being like, "Oh, it looks like they're building a new hotel." And then it was announced it was Tower of Terror. And she was like, "Yes, this is my favorite ride. It's here." Like, she was so excited.
Fun.
Yeah. So, very fun stuff, very sweet memories. But, she would never be able to get me on it. So, it didn't matter to me. But, I don't know. That's what I always think of when I think of Tower of Terror is her reaction to it coming to California.
So excited.
Yeah.
I miss it. My last little bit on this attraction, initial rumors were that both attractions in the United States would be changed to Guardians of the Galaxy. In
Mm,
2015, Bob Chapek announced that he would be changing Disneyland's as he wanted to capitalize on their ownership of Marvel. And this was the first step in creating a Marvel themed land.
right. And they couldn't do that in Florida, maybe not at the time, or it was complicated.
I
It's
don't
still
know why the
complicated.
change didn't happen to Florida, but I'm thankful that it didn't
Yeah, definitely.
because I um the next time I'm there, I'm going on it for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. I think you should.
And that's all I have for the California version. You want to tell us a little bit about the version that I don't know, maybe will go on in Japan?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Um, I don't think it's going to be a priority, but also I am so extremely intrigued just having learned what I have about it that it might be enough to get me on it. And my partner does love the Tower of Terror. I think that me making him go to Disney while we're in a different country um, and then me going on the things that he wants to go on is probably a good compromise.
Okay.
So I probably should, but we'll see what happens. So in Tokyo Disney Sea, we have the Tower of Terror. This version opened in 2006. It stands at 190 feet tall, um, into shorter than the Disney World version, like shorter in ride time. So it's about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. The Tokyo version features an original storyline, like totally unrelated to the Twilight Zone. They didn't think that Japanese guests and audiences would really relate to the Twilight Zone as a franchise or like as an entity. So they decided to keep the name, but go a different direction with the story. It takes place in the fictional Hotel Hightower in New York in 1912, now owned by the New York Preservation Society. This story builds on that of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, or the SEA. How much do you know about the SEA?
Very little. Like I know of its existence. It's like the secret club, right? Like I know that they talked about it with like the Adventureland Tower, and it
Hmm.
gets talked about like there's I guess you could call them maybe like Easter eggs throughout all of the different parks that have like hints of the society.
Yeah, it's like a story happening within other stories, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
It's fun. I don't know, maybe
It's
that's a
fun.
topic that we
Yeah,
cover one
we
day.
should. That is a good one.
It would be fun to learn more about it. Um, but so this is involved in that. The original owner, Harrison Hightower III, went on many expeditions throughout the world and collected thousands of priceless artifacts. Most of them were stolen for personal gain and stored in this hotel. One is one of them is an idol named Shiriki Utundu, brought in by Hightower from an expedition to Africa, and he mysteriously disappeared in 1899. Harrison Hightower, that is. The foundational structure of this attraction is the same as in DCA, so all of the effort could be put into developing this unique story and show elements. I kind of wish like the ride was named something else just with the consideration that it's like not associated with the Twilight Zone. So I like kind of wish it had a different name so it could be distinct like how Mission Breakout is now. Um, but it does make sense, I guess, from like a branding standpoint that they would keep the name. So just to walk through the story beats really quick. So as you enter the hotel, you enter the lobby with like ceiling arch that's like painted with a mural of Hightower on his adventures, like portraying escapes and valuable artifacts and more items. And at the end of the lobby is the elevator in like a completely destroyed state with like its doors open and just like a single plank of wood like holding them together. So like we're not going in there, right? Guests are ushered into a room with even more photographs of Hightower, and then you enter the office where there's a large stained glass window with depictions again of Harrison Hightower, while the Shariki Utandu sits on a pedestal nearby. Your tour guide talks about Hightower, then winds up an old gramophone that begins to play a recording of his last interview. Then the lights dim and the stained glass window changes to a frightened Hightower holding the idol. You hear his voice echo through the office, warning guests that the curse is real, and then entering the elevator, showing the outside of the hotel. As the elevator ascends, Hightower is like warning you that like they need to just like get out. All the lights in the hotel go out and a flash of green shatters the bottom of the window. The Shariki Utandu comes to life, laughing mischievously at the guests, and then vanishes into a starfield. Then guests are moved into an enormous storage room where Hightower keeps more treasures. From what I was hearing, I watched a few videos to go along with this, and it sounds like it takes like this ride is more focused on the storytelling of it all and less focused on the thrill, even though there is still plenty of thrill to it. You know, it is still the same ride mechanics. I guess it's less like it takes a little bit more of like a pause in between drops
Mm,
or ascensions. And again, you have something you mentioned it in yours, but in also it, what Disney World does not have is the scene with the mirror.
mm,
So guests have the opportunity to wave at themselves and then see themselves kind of disappear into like a green like ooze type of thing.
ooh,
Yeah, creepy. There's lots of like green elements in this with like between the idol and that. Yeah, it's interesting. There's like a green glow. Oh, also
oh,
the
okay.
I almost said electric shock, or maybe it is electricity that kind of like lights up around the hotel, which you can see from the outside too. But I'm excited. I'm excited to know more about this, to get involved, to see it. I don't know. We'll see if I end up taking a chicken exit or not, but I'm gonna try. We're gonna see.
Oh my goodness. Just do it. Just
I
sit
know.
down. Just go and sit down.
I know. I will. I will do it. I'm just scared.
What is the worst that's gonna happen?
No, exactly. Me cry. It
It'll be okay.
will be okay. You're right. I appreciate you.
Go and
Again, I
sit
have
down.
sit down, shut up.
And
I,
enjoy the ride.
yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. We'll see. I do have a few fun facts. So, the appearance of Harrison Hightower himself is based on the imagery of Joe Rohde, who is actually the one that like plays him and some of the live action elements of the ride. One of the murals that I mentioned shows Harrison Hightower and Smelding in the fictional Lost River Delta of Peru from the Lost River Delta of Tokyo Disney Sea. So it's like, a little tie in to another part of the park. The artwork shows them stealing the head of the god of water, an event from the backstory of the Lost River Delta attraction called Raging Spirits, which is like it's a roller coaster. And then there's artwork of the ancient water temple being robbed, which appears in the background, and the idol's head appears again being unloaded from Hightower's Pride, which is his boat that you also see pictured in like the queue of the ride. Maybe boat is an understatement. I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure. And then again, talking about the murals, one depicts Harrison Hightower as the Hindu god Vishnu. So it seems like he's really into himself, is all I can say. But yeah, that's a very fun and interesting and creative story of Tower of Terror and Disney Sea. One of a kind, but still same ride system that we got here.
Cool.
You want to take us on over to Disneyland Paris? Or I guess this is in Walt Disney Studios Park.
Yeah, so going back there from last week, um, this was I don't have very little to say about this attraction, but this was the last of the four to open in 2007. And it's an exact replica of the version that's in California Adventure Park, um, aside from half of the attraction being told in French and half of it being told in English. This was true until 2019, where they completed a renovation and followed in the footsteps of Florida's version, incorporating randomized drops so that every ride would be a new experience. So that's the only difference now from this version compared to the one in California Adventure.
And it's like the same size and stuff.
Yeah, it's an exact replica, which
Well,
is
yeah.
like seemed to be the trend of Disneyland Paris, was that they were like trying to make everything exactly like Disneyland in California, which I wish they hadn't done that.
It seems like it's something that they're trying to correct now.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
They do have that crush coaster though.
They do. Yeah, they
Dude,
do.
we need something like that.
We do. That does look super fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for.
Hey, I'm sure it's very popular there. I think it was down, I think it was being renovated when I was there or
Mm,
like down for the day, just because I don't remember seeing it being like it busy.
sure.
But it's a pretty small park, so the Walt Disney Studios Park at least.
Right.
So, kind of a fun question. I did watch the For Your Amusement episode where they talked about Tower of Terror, but they just focused on the Disney World one.
Oh, okay.
And a question that I think the guest posed to the two hosts was like, if you could theme a Tower of Terror ride, like, how would you theme it? I know. That's why it like really, when I seen that, like the proposed ones or like the ideas that were being thrown around, I was like, oh my gosh, like things I didn't think of. And also, like, how fun would those be?
Did you think of any?
For like, not off my own brain. I just thought those were so good. Also, I think Geyser Mountain would have been really interesting. Like, I hope maybe we see that idea pop up again some other time and maybe a similar concept, but maybe just a different way. I don't know, but I was trying to think of what would be like, I don't know, like an overarching theme or like I don't know. I guess I'm not, this ride doesn't spark my creative juices because I think they're doing it so good already.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would have to be like whatever they would do, if they were going to do it, they would do an IP, right? But I mean, you could do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like I, I don't know. So I really love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, right? Like that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe like a goofy ride where
Oh,
like he does something he does something crazy or like something that causes like whatever you're in to drop.
well, also that would be so fun. I feel like that's like almost like Guardians of the Galaxy vibe because when you're saying that, I'm picturing it like bouncy, like how
Yeah.
that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or like now I'm thinking of like, see, I'm better when you like give me a theme and then I can like plug in all the pieces, because now I'm like seeing Max, now I'm like seeing Pete, now I'm like I'm seeing it come together in my mind and you just said Goofy. I think that would be really fun. I kind of wish that we had more attractions that were themed to, like the core
Yeah,
group.
sure, sure.
Hmm. I wish I don't now I'm thinking about bouncing and I'm like, what if it was Tigger? Which was like, I don't like that idea. Like, I don't want it to be Tigger. I don't know. I guess maybe like
What else takes you up and down?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like anything I'm thinking of like kind of feels like a
I'm like, girl, you had this question. This is your
I
question.
know,
You don't
but
have
it's
an
because
idea, and you've had all
okay.
this time to think about it.
I'm telling you, I like and nothing really is like sparking me. Um
Yeah, with you right
Honestly,
now.
I it makes me think of like which is just another elevator, but have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
I don't remember it.
Okay, so like the spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen Cabin in the Woods, because this is like the, like peak of the movie, the climax of the movie. But so they end up in like this facility in there you like get a zoom out and they're like in an elevator and or yeah, something like that. Basically, you see like everything around them and it's like all of these horror monsters. And so there is like it's supposed to be some sort of like facility building and you see like the elevators will like open and like a whole bunch of like horror monsters like jump out of the elevator and like attack somebody or they're like going throughout the building or somebody like turns a corner and there's like a creepy little girl standing there or like just wild horror movie type stuff. I'm like that would be fun, but I'm like is I don't know. Is that kind of like Monsters After Dark almost?
Kind of,
Okay.
kind of. Um, I have another idea though.
Ooh, I love it.
What
Please.
if it were like an escape room
Mm.
and like each floor was like a I don't know, a puzzle that you had to solve, and if you got it right, like you would go up, and if you got it wrong, like it would drop you back down again, or I don't
Oh my
know,
gosh.
something like that. I don't know, that sounds fun.
No, I love that. That's so fun. That's so fun. And you could like do some like kind of like at the beginning of Guardians when he's like, "Show me your paws."
Yes.
And you like have to put up your hands. Like
Yes,
what if it was
for
something like
clearance.
that?
When I was
Yeah.
watching the when I was watching the ride-throughs, like, I was like, "Oh, yeah, you don't have to raise your hands for clearance."
Yeah, you don't actually have the
You
That would
do.
be fun. You do. Rocket said so.
Rocket said so.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like what's the answer to the question or something? And you're like, ah, blah blah blah. They're like, oh, we got it wrong. I don't know. And you could tie something like that back to like the SEA if you wanted to,
Oh,
or
yeah,
some other
totally
thing.
good.
Like
Yeah.
you can make like a new, overarching storyline for a different group of
That'd
people.
be wild.
That sounds fun. Or even like Scooby Doo.
Oh, wow.
That would be fun.
I'm not even thinking about, like, other, like, outside. That'd be cool, yeah.
Wow, I really did like come with this question and had no answer for you. I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to hear your answer. I'm just useless.
Oh, I just you're silly goose. I think that's everything for this episode.
I think it is. Thank you so much for listening. We post new content every Saturday, so please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen so you never miss an episode.
And don't forget to review and rate us 5 stars, share it with your friends, and subscribe to at Magical Happy Hour Podcast on Instagram. Megan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Megan Creedon, and there's a link to my TikTok on there as well. Shy, what about you?
You can find me at Disney Obsessed Nurse on Instagram and on TikTok. And if you're interested in having a professional travel agent that specializes in Disney and Universal Studios, plan your next vacation. You can find the link to my website in our podcast note or email me at Cheyenne@vincentvacations.com. And we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers!
Cheers!